Hello, Bill Mitchell Academy's community. We're back again this week. I'm Shana Carey, and this is Bill Mitchell. And this week I wanted to talk a little bit about another one of his famous sayings. And he has so many, but this one I think resonates with a lot of us. So one of your famous sayings is, whether or not we know it, every day we're attempting to influence the
decisions, actions,
and opinions of others. So I just want you to go into a little bit more detail about what that means.
Well, basically, as most of you know, I've been involved in sales and marketing most of my adult professional life. And I'm always amazed when I go to a seminar where I might be doing a talk on selling. And I ask people to raise their hand as to those of you who are in selling. And maybe half of the room is secretarial, might be administrative. And I see hands going up, but I don't see all hands going up. And I say, well, first of all, before I repeat that question, I want to rephrase it a little bit. How many of you would believe that selling is about influencing the decisions, the actions, and the opinions of other people? And of course, they raise their hands. Then I say, how many of you try to influence the decisions, the actions, and the opinions of other people? And they always say, boom, every hand in the room goes up. So I'm saying to them, why in the world would you not always do everything you can personally and professionally, because you're trying to influence your children, your spouse, your parents, clients? Every day we get up and we try to influence somebody or something. And so I try to get everyone to realize that they are in sales. And the more they can adopt the principles and the rules of selling that are effective in the business world, their personal lives will change. In fact, I will tell you, I've had a couple of females in my audience come up to me after and said, you know, I think my marriage is going to get better now that I understand how to influence the decisions, the actions, and the opinions of other people.
And that's great, because as you're talking to this audience, there's, as you said, there's a lot of different people in different positions in their company. And, you know I have friends that are in positions right now and they're hoping to either get into sales or they just got into sales and they don't look at themselves as a salesperson. So that's really interesting that this is not only professional, this is also in our everyday lives. And so with that, how can we be good influencers?
Well, first of all, try to understand the basics. Every salesman that's a good salesperson has what I call a toolbox. And that toolbox is filled with the rules, the laws of selling. There are some basic, fundamental laws of selling.
What are some of those basic laws?
How to handle objections, for example. How to qualify people. Mm-hmm. When you're in a personal relationship, you're in a bar and you meet a guy or a gal. Whether you're accepted or not, you're trying to qualify them. Okay? So the more you know about qualifying, the better off you are. You can find out a lot of things, and there are ways that you have qualifying questions and how you ask those qualifying questions. Mm-hmm. There's so many elements to being a good salesperson, whether it's benefit selling, mm-hmm. and a lot of people talk about features, and a lot of people talk too much about themselves and not about the client, and that's where the qualifying, building rapport, you build rapport by asking questions. Too many of us make statements, and too many of us want to talk about ourselves mm-hmm. rather than the other party. So there are just basic rules and laws of selling that once you learn them, I know my wife said to me, you've been going to these sales seminars for quite a while. What are some of the things you've learned? And I said, well, one of the things I've learned is always agree and ask a question. And she said, well, what are some other things? And I said, well, it's helpful if you can get them in a positive frame of mind to try and get to the close, right? Mm-hmm. She stops and she looks at me and she says, you've been pulling that stuff on me for 15 years. You're in trouble, buddy.
That's awesome. So what are you mentioned a toolbox. So what do you mean by toolbox? Like a physical toolbox, and what kind of tools?
Okay. What I'll give you an image. You bring a internet technician into your house.
Okay.
He's got a belt with, or she has a belt with a bunch of tools in it. They've got a box with a bunch of tools in it. They know what to do with each one of those tools. They know why they have the tool. And they take the right tool. Once they analyze what's wrong, they reach in there and they pull out the right tool. Well, that's kind of an analogy of, or a metaphor. I get those confused anyway. But anyway, it gives you the idea that what I'm saying for salespeople, you need to know, when do I start to qualify the people? What tool do I need? What are the questions that I want to ask? An objection comes up. Oops, I got to get the objection tool out of my my toolbox is up here, as opposed to the physical toolbox that they have. But I have to know when to initiate a particular phrase, a particular question, and I need to understand what I want to know, when I want to know it, and why I want to know it. And once I know those things, it helps me build the questions around the outcome that I'm looking for.
So a tool would be handling objections or getting to know your customer, asking questions.
Yeah, feature benefit talk.
Okay.
Getting to know a lot about them. The biggest tool you need to fill is the tool of information. The more information you have, information is key, because without good information, you're going to spend a lot of time with a lot of turkeys. And you know, you can kiss a lot of frogs, but you don't have to kiss so many if you know which one's the magic frog, and that prince will show up.
So with those tools that you're talking about, some of them may seem basic to someone that maybe is practicing sales right now, or in sales, or hoping to get in, you know, okay, you handle objections or you ask questions, but I feel like brushing up on these tools or dusting off your tools, I know you've said before, is really important. So not only does that help professionally, but personally. So why do you feel brushing up on those tools is so important?
I think, well, I'll tell you why. Each of us in sales have times when we're just flying and we're selling like crazy. And then all of a sudden, bam, we hit a wall. And we say, what happened? Well, I don't, well, the reason those things happen, they don't know why they're selling when they're hot, and they don't know why they're not selling when they're not. And the reason is they've forgotten some of the tools they have. And a lot of people that get into sales, especially in the field of real estate, is they know the rules and regulations of real estate, but they don't understand the dynamics of creating a sales environment where they know where do they want to go. What's the first thing you want to know when a client comes in?
They have the overall idea and the structure.
Some of them know all the rules that I'm talking about.
Right.
They know how to handle an objection. They know how to qualify a prospect. They know how to set up a sentence. There are other people, and those people kind of get dusty. Things are going along smoothly, and all of a sudden they think, why am I not? Oh, I know why. I haven't been doing what I know.
Right.
A lot of people get in the business though, and they don't take the time to learn that. They learn all the mechanics of, say, real estate or automobile, about the cars or about the board, the realty board.
How those things function.
Right. And there are those mechanics that you have to have that I call, in the legal realm, but I'm talking about tools in the sales realm.
Okay, very interesting. Thank you so much.
You bet.
We hope you guys enjoyed this week, and he has so much information to give, as you can tell. We try to break it into bite-sized chunks, but if you're looking for a little bit more and to get more in depth about what Bill has to offer, we're going to link a website up above to sign up for Bill's Mindset Memos. He sends out memos for a couple weeks, giving you just some insight on different topics that he thinks will help you be more successful this week. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon.
And we hope to see you soon. So make sure you sign up above. Thank you.